So I think let's start shaking the spice and ice. So the next cocktail is, this was inspired by a salad I had several years ago. And it was this restaurant called The Outpost in Chicago that was doing some fusion cooking, and the salad was goat cheese with arugula and a mango habanero dressing. And I remember seeing it on the menu, and it sounded a little bit unusual, but it sounded really interesting. And so I went ahead and ordered it. And just the flavor memory was you have this wonderful arugula, which has that nice pepperiness to it, and then some rich tangy goat cheese, and you had that on your palate. And then with this dressing, you got about a 3-second hit of habanero, but it wasn't a lingering heat. And then some nice rice wine in there for some acid, and then the mango then took over, and then that was your finishing flavor in the salad. And it just made you want to have another bite, because you had that excitement of that pepperiness and that tang and that little bit of heat, but then the mango cooled it off. And it was kind of like Indian cuisine. If you ever have like a spicy curry or a spicy lamb vindaloo, and then you have a mango lassi. Mango actually has chemical properties that will help cool your palate from spice. So I wanted to figure out how could I translate those flavors into a cocktail. And at that point, I wouldn't have thought of putting arugula and goat cheese in a cocktail. But those of you who were at the seminar I did at Tales this last year, I do cocktails with everything from Iberico ham to bacon. I made a macaroni and cheese cocktail for a macaroni and cheese contest last week. So, but at that point, I wasn't quite to that plan of putting arugula in drink. So, ginger to me has a similar peppery quality to arugula. So that was going to be kind of my arugula in the drink. And then the habanero, I used habanero. So basically made a simple syrup, and I just dissolved the sugar, I added fresh ginger, and then the habanero, I seed it, because most of the heat is from the seeds. I was looking for more of the flavor, and not necessarily just pure heat. And I put the habanero in a cheesecloth, so I can put it in there and let the habanero infuse in the hot syrup just about 5 minutes, and I pull that out, and then let the ginger stay in there and cool down. So what you get is this nice peppery syrup with just a little bit of kick from the habanero. And then for the base, I basically use a classic gimlet or classic daiquiri ratio of 2 parts spirit, 1 part of citrus, and 1 part of sweet. So for this one, for the citrus, we use Kabuso. This is a really wonderful single orchard citrus from Japan, and there are 3 really interesting citrus in this vein. The first one you probably heard of is called yuzu, and kind of the beluga caviar of the citrus world. And yuzu, if you compare yuzu to a lemon, then you would compare Kabuso to a Meyer lemon. So it has that really bright, intense acidity, but a little bit more fragrant. And then there's another one called sudachi, which would be more like a Japanese lime that's actually just a straight 100% juice. Almost smells like it's got curry in it. But I know when Laura was smelling this yesterday, it reminded her of a Belgian white ale, almost like it's got some citrus and coriander in it. So that's the citrus. And then we use a combination. We used so wonderful white peach puree from Perfect Puree of Napa Valley, and then a little bit of mango. So essentially making a ginger habanero sour mix with the Kabuso and the ginger habanero syrup. And then we'll do a little bit of peach here, and a little bit of mango. And then Sky All Natural Infusions Passion Fruit Vodka. And then the rim on it is 7 Spice. And 7 Spice is kind of my interpretation of Chinese 5 Spice. And it's a combination of kind of sweet and savory spices. There's Szechuan peppercorns, ginger, cloves, star anise, fennel, cinnamon, and green cardamom. And kind of the idea is you actually kind of smell the aromatics of those spices before you even get to it. And to make the rim, I use a Vitamix, which is my favorite 2-horsepower blender, which can grind just about anything. So what I like to do, whole spices hold their flavor much more, because basically in spices all the flavor is the oils. And as soon as you grind the spice, then it's going to start to deteriorate and lose that and oxidize. So I put the whole spices in the blender with sugar and then turn it on. So what happens is as you blend it, those oils are released directly into the sugar. So you get this really, really nice way to capture all the flavor. That's what's on the rim. And then there's a little bit of candy ginger as well. All right.
Yummy.
So just a little lime on the rim. Dip that in there. This is a fun drink also. I like to kind of go, this is one of my favorite ones to go from food to drink back to food, and I make a mango ginger habanero sorbet. And we do a thing we call dessert tails at the restaurant. There's a flight of 4. Well, I love ice cream and booze. Pretty impossible to go wrong. So we do mango sorbet, and then I make a ginger habanero liqueur we pour over that, and then we put a little bit of the 7 spice on top. So it's kind of full circle that way.
And I noticed you use lime to rim your glass. I read somewhere recently that suggested if you were using salt to rim your glass with salt, to use lime, but if you were using sugar, to use orange. Have you heard anything to that effect?
I have. I think certainly for salt makes sense with lime, and I think either lemon or orange if you're doing something with sugar, because I think the lime can kind of overpower. With this, with all the spices, there's enough there that you can use a stronger fruit like a lime. But if definitely you were doing just a straight sugar rim or cinnamon sugar, I think orange or lemon would be a little bit nicer. All right, we'll say cheers here in about 5 seconds. All right, les bons temps pour